Ding dong, calling to order the, what are we, September 26th meeting of the Rotary Club at Sebastopol Sunrise. And September song, yes, September song. Oh, I don't know, you guys have to indulge me, you know, to a certain extent. Pledge, Barbara.
Face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Let us all greet our neighbors.
Hello, Brian!
Shall we have a song? A daily ditty. Have I lost control, or shall we have a song? Dear Joe.
We have visitors here today. We have a visitor, a long-time person from this area who's back from Mexico, Dale, right? So I thought in honor of you would do a little America the Beautiful. All right?
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Oh, it's beautiful to my ears. So, thought du jour, Terry. Das now haben.
So in education and training and Rotary.
Hold on, you guys. Come on, Terry. Terry has important things to say.
In education, training, Rotary, the mind can absorb only what the seat can endure.
Mind and yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Those are for cyclists, too.
So, thanking our readers, Chris, Once Upon a Time, and Lori, thank you. And Mike T, Jerry, and Louie, you guys, up in order, thank you. Busy Rotarians, Lori.
Yes, we have Dale Knight, our visiting Rotarian.
Get Dale's for what club, Lori? Which club? Oh. It's called, can you give?
Thank you, Louie.
Where's your new club now?
Well, I first went to Mexico 20 years ago with Festival of Brotherhood, and I met the people from Alamo. They were my first friends. And so when I made the decision to retire to Mexico, it's like, what club do I join? Brother-sister clubs with Rona Park Cotati since 2002. And, you know, my best friends down there.
Where is Alamo? What province?
It's a suburb of Guadalajara,
Oh, okay.
second largest city in Mexico.
Which one?
Guadalajara.
We're a very small club, and we're in the process of growing. But it's so good to be in a Rotary Club with friends, long-term friends. So, come visit. I live in Tlaquepaque, which is which is a suburb of Guadalajara. Started out as an artisan community, and I live right in the center of that section. thanks to another Rotarian. And so think about coming down and visiting. I do have a guest room. Or my friends Arturo and Estella have a beautiful boutique bed and breakfast hotel that I've been staying at. Barbara knows it. For 15 years, Quinta Don Jose. Everything's in walking distance. So it's fun.
All right, well, welcome. Any other visiting Rotarian board? Guests, Charlie.
Let me introduce Leslie Lukacs, who is our speaker today.
Good morning, Leslie, thank you for coming. Any other visitors? Oh, yes, well,
Well, I'd like to introduce Summer Morris, who is returning again today.
indeed, Summer. And we have Adrian also in the crowd here, and they're soon not to be visitors anymore. But welcome.
Adrian, his last day as a non-Rotarian.
Indeed. So I was hoping to have Madeline Delange with us today. Delanga. But so I thought, you know, of Holland, and this is a little cartoon. I want to see the guy's got his finger in the dike, right? I want 100 pounds of candy, $1 million bucks, and safe passage to any country without wooden shoes. Or I swear to God, I'll pull my finger out.
Yes, Madeleine is going to a baseball game today.
Oh,
So it should be an interesting experience. The weather should be beautiful.
possibly.
And I believe it's Wednesdays are day games.
Okay. Dr. Packbell. So you be the judge. This is under the rubric of stupid laws, right? It is prohibited to dance to the Star-Spangled Banner in Massachusetts. In Wyoming, purchasing scrap metal, rubber, rags, or paper from an intoxicated person is prohibited. It's the wisdom of the law, right? And in something similar to what we have here in the Sebastopol, it is illegal to build, maintain, or use a nuclear weapon within Chico, California.
Yeah,
$500 fine, so if you guys are thinking about building a nuclear weapon in Chico, yeah, don't. It's cheap, right? It's like the Sasquatch, you know?
Go.
Yeah, there you go.
Like $500.
You be the judge. Birthdays, anniversaries. Brian! Oh la la! Qu'est-ce que c'est? What will you be doing, Brian? Do we have a mic here, our excellent mic team?
Right here. We're down to the C team today, I think.
Brian, so actually it's member anniversary, right? Times 11?
Oh, yeah.
I guess you're going to be a Rotary. You're not going to do something special, you know, like go out and paint the town, you know?
Rotarian related.
Okay.
A week and a half ago, I was finishing vacation in Italy and spent the night with one of our exchange families, Fabio from Milan. And Fabio was here 8 or 9 years ago. He just spent 2 years in London working for Red Hat software company. And now he's back in Milan, just bought his first house, and he's part owner of a software company for small hotels and bed and breakfast, IT.
What town were you in when you?
Milan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Really nice family. They're really, we've gone there a couple times and done things with his family, so that Rotary connection is wonderful.
How do you like the food there?
Oh, his father is a history major, so he has to show us all the foods from every region, plus the red wines from each region.
So from Milan, you can actually see the Alps? Sort of, kind of, sort of?
That's where I was on vacation, or crossing, hiking in the Alps. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm also glad to levy a $15 fine on you.
Yeah!
Brian, thank you so very much. Jim, oh goodness, not with us today. I've got to call in. Does anyone have any word about Jim?
I saw him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah?
I ran into a restaurant in Windsor. He looks okay.
Yeah?
His wife looks okay.
Yeah.
Bruce. The reason why he's out is because his wife is going through some very serious physical and health problems.
Right.
So he backed off a little bit.
continuing saga. Look at this, it's a little bit skewed. Diane and Kurt, wedding anniversary. Does anyone know how long they've been married? Long time. Sweet couple, incredibly sweet. So there you have it. Hey, here's someone that I know. Larry, member inductions. Linda.
Thank you, President Matt.
Is that working there?
There we go. Good morning, Sebastopol Sunrise. At this time, I would like to invite Brian Purcell and Al Lustig to come up. I would love it if we could give these two gentlemen a huge round of applause as they are sponsors to our new members. I think it's so fitting that today is Brian's 11-year anniversary, and he's sharing the gift of Rotary with Adrian today. I think that's meant to be, don't you? A little serendipitous. And you too can be a sponsor. On your table is a card. I would really appreciate it if you would be my ambassadors for membership. Keep it with you in your wallet or purse. And when you see an opportunity to invite somebody to breakfast, that's all it is. Come have breakfast with us, check us out. And the rest will happen naturally. So at this time, I would like to invite past Governor Bruce Campbell to come up. He is going to do the ceremony of the inductions. And Adrian and Summer, would you please join us as well?
In the interim, I do want to thank Linda for the superb job she's doing with membership this year, and it's a real credit to our club and our club.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome two people in the Rotary, one back in the Rotary. For those of you who don't know, Summer is a former member of our club. Business was such that she felt that getting here on Wednesday mornings was going to be a real push. And so to stay in Rotary, she joined what was then the newest club in the district, the Santa Rosa Evening Club, which unfortunately went south. Summer and I have stayed in contact all through that period of time, and I kind of insisted that when she felt ready to let us know, but Al beat me to it. And so Summer is a CPA and also teaches yoga. That's an interesting combination.
With the anatomy of business and the anatomy of your body.
I would encourage each and every one of you to get to know Summer over the next couple of weeks and months. Adrian is new to us. From what I understand, he has had the unique opportunity to teach English in Nepal. So he is a well-traveled international person and looks for international opportunities. I'd just like to impress upon both of these two new members to our club again that Rotary is an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity for you to do basically whatever you want with the support and the foundation of some 40 people around you and some larger number throughout the area. I would challenge you to extend yourself beyond our club, go to other clubs in the area, and when you're traveling, particularly international, Adrian, you'll find that you will be welcome in any Rotary club around the world. And you get to see a part of the country, and I think Dale will agree with me on this, get to see any part of a country which you would not normally see if you just went in as a visitor. I'd also like to, as Linda did, thank Brian and Al for taking that extra step of bringing two new people back to Rotary. Thank you very much. Linda, where are you?
Here I am.
You said you were going to do this part of it. We have some stuff for you. As you found out in Rotary information, there are certain tasks that we're going to ask you to do, and we are going to ask you to do them again, Summer. you don't get a free pass. But the purpose of our so-called fermentation process is for us to get to know the new members, and the new members to get to know us. It's not a hazing or anything else, it's just a get acquainted. So again, I would challenge each and every one of you to take that extra step and reach out to both Summer and Adrian. Linda, would you?
And before I give you your badges, I would like the sponsors to give you your Rotary pin.
Oh. Be careful there, be careful. Be careful there. I'm watching very closely, Al.
Here's your badge. And let's have a round of applause for our newest members. Welcome. Congratulations.
I'm just so delighted to welcome Summer back and to welcome Adrian into our fold. What wonderful additions to our club. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for Wayne to do a little spot here on vocational. Wayne is doing just a tremendous job with as the vocational chair in developing and utilizing vocations in our club for purposes of attracting new members and assisting young people in the community. So to that end, Wayne, maybe, do you have an interview for us, a brief interview?
Yeah, I've got a surprise for you. Our friend Gus.
Gus!
We're going to find out about Gus, all the little closet things and everything.
Hey, Gus and I have been secretively meeting at the Hot Monk over the last couple of years.
Well, it's 11.
Is there another mic? So I can just hand it back. But let's find out a little bit about you, Gus. So where do you come from?
Originally, Germany.
Okay, when did you come over to the U.S.?
In 1956. Oh, got two of them, huh?
Well, you know, that's a coincidence.
Both sides of my mouth, right?
I moved here in 56 also from Vancouver, BC. So we've got some sort of kinship.
Well, I think you're, you had
brothers.
You had a head start because you spoke English, right?
I did speak. Well, I spoke Canadian, and people used to write about that. The way I pronounced about and things like that.
They didn't hold it against you though, right?
Not quite probably like you, but anyway.
Well, I had, you know, you learn fast.
You do.
Especially when it gets to eating, right?
So in 56, did you come over as an electrician? Or?
Yes. Yeah.
So you were trained in Germany?
Right. I started my apprenticeship there in 1948.
Wow. Are you straight?
I was ahead of you? Good.
And
from there I moved to Switzerland, stayed there for about 3 years, and then came from Switzerland, came over here to Chicago. I worked there for about 7 months and I was drafted in the Army.
oh wow.
I didn't think I'm wrong. They knew a good thing when they saw it, right?
So what did you do in the Army?
I was in the Signal Corps.
Oh, okay.
You know, we were monitoring the Sputnik.
Oh.
Then I became a security risk because I wasn't a citizen.
Oh.
See? So,
Are you a citizen now?
oh yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Well,
Do you have your green card? See?
no, I had one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, I bounced around from New Jersey, Colorado Springs, Camp Hale, up at the Continental Divide,
So did you ski while you were out
Yeah, that's all there was.
there? Yeah. Cross country?
No, we built a little ski lift and,
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Wow.
He's an electrician.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So it was a good time.
Fantastic.
3 square meals a day, and
Yeah.
the place, you know, you knew where you want to go.
And when did you come to Sebastian?
In 62,
62?
yeah,
Yeah, it's trouble
that,
center, high school.
the town was painted green also.
It was painted green then, just like the roads now?
Just like that, just
Okay,
it's going
yeah.
back.
Not
to the
red.
roots.
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, I'm just kidding you, though.
Well,
This is a new one.
so anyhow, Gus is, as you can tell, is an electrician, and he's gonna help us electrify the greenhouse over there safely.
You got to stick with that green now.
Yeah, so it's great to talk to you, Gus.
Well,
Thanks so much.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
See you around.
Natalie, you have a comment over there? Natalie has a comment? Right.
Will you be the
Microphone.
Yep. His problem is he'll drink all the beer at the
beer taster?
Oh, yeah.
Every beer, and let us know which one is your favorite.
A beer taster, Gus, we need a beer taster, and I will say that Gus put out the signs to the beer fest, and I think with Rod's assistance, and it's always there helping with electrical issues, and I'm just so proud at this point to levy a fine of $20. Get that man, $20. So at any rate, let's see what else we got.
Rod did all the heavy lifting.
No, Rod did, yeah. Rotary Fire Relief, keep it in mind, you guys, this is where you can donate. Announcements, September 27th, tomorrow is the start dinner. Maybe you can talk to Barbara if you're interested. October 2 to 7, Pedal for Polio, Fort Bragg, Clear Lake. Brian, why don't you give us a little thing about that. Tell us a little bit about details.
Just give the mic to Jerry, who might join us Thursday morning. So we'll be riding into Sebastopol next Wednesday, riding around 3:30 p.m. at Bob Rogers' house. So if you want to join barbecue, Michael's going to be making famous sausage.
When now is that, Saturday?
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, so it goes the 2nd through the 7th, but the key date for us and to
That's
watch
my martini night.
You should have gotten an email.
Oh, I think I did.
Do you have a special sausage for the martini?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
Who is that?
they're dry, real dry.
So yeah, join 3:30 p.m. Bob Rogers' house. We'll send another email out and we'll get another reminder next Wednesday morning.
Are you going to be riding?
I will be riding. Hopefully,
You
Jerry-
ride that
everybody's-
regular bike or a
Regular bike. Yeah, you know the kind of
Road bike.
Yeah.
Did you ride a regular bike last time or was
Yes,
it a
yes,
chrome
I did.
bike?
Former district governor, what's his name? Kevin Ivory.
So
Yeah.
Brian is an awesome athlete in our midst, and I want to proudly levy a $15 fine. First Friday, October 4th at Rico's Cafe and Restaurant.
October 4th is a Thursday, so I want to do that.
Well, let's call it October 5th. Rico's Restaurant and Cafe is right near Peter Lowell's.
Oh, it's the new one.
October 8th, Santa Rosa Symphony. Say again?
We've got a large bar in the back, so you don't have to be...
I'll make use of same. October 13th, the Brew Fest, and October 14th, Milton Fire Relief at the Milton Mansion Event Center. And Terry, tell us a little bit about...
Well, we're getting there. Thank you, Jerry.
It's on.
It's on. It's on. Hello. It's on. So beer is getting here. We're about a dozen wineries, a cidery, and a dozen breweries, a cidery and a winery. Pouring. We're trying to add a few wineries here towards the end. But Alan, you want to talk about getting some flyers out?
So, good morning, everyone. Last Wednesday, I had this wonderful show of support for flyers going out, and I assume those who volunteered picked up flyers on the back. Is that how that worked? Did you pick up flyers on the back table? Can you just raise your hands to show me who did actually volunteer, pick up flyers, and drop them? Did you guys have a chance to drop them all yet?
Not all of them.
Not all. Okay, but it's started. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Today we have a bigger poster that is printed, and that can also go in windows. We haven't already done something in that respect, and we'd like to help out. Who covers downtown Sebastopol, by the way?
Mike Cook.
Mike. Okay, how many businesses?
Yeah, just both sides of the street for the 2 blocks.
In downtown area. Okay, so that helps. I will also cover whatever hasn't been done. So I really want to thank everybody. Getting the word out right now is super important, and buying tickets. So does everybody have tickets in their possession that they could actually sell? In your wallets? They're all.
If you have them in possession, you have them sold.
So if everybody doesn't have tickets on hand,
BJ, how
could you
many?
grab some tickets right now from Terry and try and sell those?
Remember, you
That's
guys,
a big promotion.
Yeah.
Are our street banners up yet, Terry? Okay, we took care of our street banners, so thank you, Gus, for that. So I think that's about all I have. Do you have a question? Anyone have any questions about the Brew Bash?
Natalie, I need the mic.
What?
BJ wants to talk.
DJ wants to talk, okay.
before we leave Natalie, just 1 second. Natalie has been very instrumental in helping get the word out for Brew Fest, and she's helping us orchestrate generally our PR campaign, and we are utilizing her magazine, Sebastopol Living, which is a wonderful thing. How is that going for you now?
Fabulous. The magazine's
So it's
going
a
really
good
well.
thing, it's a win-win for us all, and that's $15 for you. Sebastopol Living, and PJ.
I was actually gonna wait.
No, I'm not talking now. It costs me money, baby, every time.
I know. I was gonna wait for my induction to kind of talk about my life and actually sign everybody up on the mailing list. Because I know there's a lot of members who don't get it. Some do, some don't. And I thought that would have been a good opportunity. But since that's kind of going on, I've been here for a year now and I haven't done my stand-up comedy routine.
That's what you're doing now, isn't it?
I could just grab your guys' name. If anybody's interested in being on the mailing list for Sebastopol Living, it features the families of Sebastopol. On each cover is kind of a personal profile space with these prints. It's been received really well, and I'm very, very proud of this issue, the October issue, because it features Lee Walker, and there's a fantastic story about his history. So, that's it.
I do want to, PJ, I won't fine you if you want to talk, I like that.
But that's a $20
Famous last words from an attorney.
Well, we'll put it to the test.
But talking about your magazine is a $20 fund.
Oh, yeah. So, PJ, just before we forget, we're collecting beer, like we collect wine, for purposes of raffle and making money at our festival. Remember, you guys, this is how we reach out and do good in the community. In part, we do a lot of things in person with, sweat equity, but this raising money is critical. So go out there, sell 4, 5, 10 tickets, whatever, and bring beer. We need to bring beer. We've got 2 weeks now. We're running down the slope here, so go ahead, PJ.
Everybody brings a 6-pack of beer, please. Really? Yeah, because that's for our grand prize, like we used to do with the wine.
So, like Coors Light?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Let's rock it. Let's have a good
Generic
time.
from the, secondhand store.
Just to mention, we're looking for quality 6-packs.
Next week.
Qualities, it's PBR, that's what I'm reading. PBR, baby. All right. I want to thank Matt and Jerry. They have bought tickets that are trying to match my 30 to bring fire relief victims to our party. And remember, it's a week after their anniversary. Who knows what state of mind they're going to be in, or even if they want to party down. they've got real life issues. But regardless, we're going to make an attempt, and please, if you are going to purchase something to match these tickets, give them to me so I can give the full 60 to 100 to my contact over at Coffee Park. She's on the board for Coffee Park Relief, so please, yeah, it's a good thing.
Thanks
It's a good
again,
thing,
PJ. Thank you, PJ, very much.
PJ, thank you. Remember, that's really the first 100 tickets that we will have sold, are those 60 tickets to fire victims, fire survivors, and it's a very generous donation that PJ and Ellie are making. Regarding the beer, no Flatland beer, no Coors, no Lucky Lager. What else did we drink in college?
Olympia.
Oli, no PBR, no Mickey's Big Mouth. No Red Bull 45. We want real beer. So anyway, but seriously, that can start coming next week. We'll get an email out reminding, and we'll show them that will be one of our grand big auction raffle prizes that we're going to have. So, Corona? No still. Whatever floats your boat. The moving water in the wall. It's also fixing to work. So that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, Matt.
So let's make this a successful event, and I'm sure we will. Sure. Kathy?
Who we make the checks out to?
Kathy, you want to say?
So last week, we sent out the volunteer, and within 24 hours, 59% of the space was filled. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, Barbara said, well, all the front gates are filled. Yeah, a week ago. So we're all getting used to it. I'm going to send out the volunteer again today. Did anybody not get it? Because I know it went to my junk mail, but I check my junk mail every day. Did anyone not get the volunteer last week when I sent it out? So everyone got it. Okay. I'll send it out again, and then Natalie can sign up. And so everyone sign up, even though you know you're going, sign up on the volunteer sheet. All right, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Derek, you got it. You got the mic. Louis informed me a tentative date for the Interact Barbecue is October 20. We will firm it up with the location, but I just wanted to put that bug in your ear. And without further ado, our speaker, Charlie, you want to introduce Leslie.
Hey, it's on. The other day I bought some food at Pacific Market, and it had they had recycled compostable plastic lids. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then I read somewhere that they can go in green bins now. And so I thought that was very cool that we now have compostable plastics. And then there was a letter to the editor from someone on the Sonoma County Zero Waste Task Force that indicate that's not true. Don't put them in the green bin. And fortunately, the timing is perfect. I think we're going to get an education. Leslie Lukash is the Zero Waste Director for the nationwide SCS engineers. And she's also the founder and chair of the Sonoma County Zero Waste Task Force. And she's got an interesting story to tell.
Charlie, and thank you to the Rotary. Wow, you guys are a cheerful group of people, so thank you for having me. So the Zero Waste, Sonoma County Zero Waste Task Force actually started about over 2 years ago. I am the director of Zero Waste for a national environmental consulting firm, and we are doing all this great work all over the nation and even internationally on zero waste, but in our own backyard in Sonoma County, nothing was really happening. At the time, we had a hauler who wasn't very progressive on, doing new programs for our communities. Not a lot of education and outreach was happening. And so I decided, with the help of Pam Davis, your Rotary Club member, we decided to organize the first ever Sonoma County Zero Waste Symposium. And we got businesses and activists and amazing speakers from all over the county who were doing things to divert resources from our landfill right in our own backyard, but nobody was really organized. And so we started this symposium, and the first one, we just went out on a limb. We had no money, and we ended up raising, we actually made $6,000 profit in this thing. We didn't even set out to make money. We just wanted to pull this thing off without any resources going into it. And as we were getting closer to the first event, Pam and I were talking, and we're like, well, if we're going to do this event, let's like make something of it afterwards. And so we came up with a campaign called Sept Sonoma. And this is a campaign where we asked restaurants if you can just serve straws upon request. We're not saying don't serve straws, but just serve it upon request. And that was launched at that first symposium of May 2 years ago. And lo and behold, our governor just this week signed legislation saying that every restaurant by January 1st can only serve straws upon request. So Pam and I started that in our community. We did the symposium again last May. It got bigger, more attendees. And so after that first symposium, I decided, you know what, we need to somehow like pull this energy together. So let's form this non-binding group called the Sonoma County Zero Waste Task Force. And let's see what we can do within our community. So that's what I'm going to start with. And when I talk about zero waste, what do I mean? I don't mean just recycling and composting. It's really about looking at what we use and dispose as a resource. It all came from nature somewhere, most of it. And even plastics came from oil. So it's a resource to us, so we need to manage these resources responsibly and not just use them once and put them in the landfill. So it has to do with recycling and composting and reuse, but also it has to do with trying to not create the waste in the first place. Like the straw. The straw is a minimal impact product. It doesn't, doesn't take much landfill space, but do we really need it? We're not 7. We can, figure out how to drink without a straw. We certainly can drink wine and beer without a straw. We can do the same with, water.
There are paper straws.
And there are paper straws and there are metal straws. I give out metal straws all the time. So if somebody wants a straw, I actually usually have them on hand. So the Sonoma County Zero Waste Task Force is made up of all these groups. Actually, the list has gone up to 53 people now are part of our committee. But you can see it's public, private, nonprofit. We've all come together from our different viewpoints to try and do something within our county. And what we decided that we would do is we would prepare what we called a zero waste resolution request. And that meant that we were actually going to go to the Sonoma County Waste Management Agency, which oversees all of our management of recycling, composting, landfilling, and say, we want you as the board, we want you to adopt zero waste as your goal. So we actually wrote the language of this request. And then from there we said, you know what, if we're going to ask this request, we better prepare a draft resolution for them because we want to make this as easy as possible. So we took the next step and wrote the draft resolution. And then from there we said, well, what if they look at us and say, how are we going to go zero waste? What are we going to do? We said, okay, we're going to give you 33 initiatives that we've come together as a representative of our county from all cities. And these are the 33 steps. And so we did initiatives. I can tell you that we officially went up to the board of directors just this Wednesday. Or no, actually it was last Wednesday. Just last Wednesday, and the board of directors unanimously supported our zero waste resolution, and they actually didn't change a word in our draft resolution. So it got passed. I'd like to say that we were a little bit ahead of the game. As you do know, there was the International Climate Action Summit that just happened in San Francisco last week, and C40 came together. C40, it came out of the Paris Accords, and C40 is at the time was some of the largest cities in the world. There's now 93 cities who are part of C40, but anyway, at the Climate Action Summit, C40 came together and said, zero waste is our goal because it's going to reduce greenhouse gases by 20% if we adhere to this. So I like to say, as in Sonoma County, we actually were a little bit ahead of C40, which is nice, but this is getting such international momentum and attention, not for managing waste and recycling and composting, but for managing our greenhouse gases. And that's really what it's about. It's a climate initiative. It's also a jobs initiative. We do have a new hauler in town. Your hauler is Recology. Recology is the service provider for San Francisco, who is a zero waste city. And that was a really big thing to us when Recology took over the contract, was because if they actually did support a zero waste city, they could do that here in Sonoma County. The other thing that happened was Recology, or actually the workers under the old hauling company, organized and decided to unionize and get equitable wages for their jobs. The waste management industry is, I believe, the third most dangerous industry out there, and they weren't unionized and they wanted to get paid equitable wages. So they got together with Teamsters 665 and Jobs of Justice, and under the new Recology contract, all workers now are unionized and are paid an equitable wage. I think they all got about an $8 an hour increase just from the new company coming over into town. So I am also integrated in our community in another way. As you may know, raise your hand if you've heard of Sonoma Compost, the old compost company. Pam's a little bit more familiar since she worked there. So Sonoma Compost was actually a state-of-the-art compost facility in the nation. Not necessarily in its technology. The technology was a little bit old, but it was a very a well-known compost facility beyond our community, and it was in existence for 25 years, and circumstances led to its closure. And so that left our community to out hauling all of our organic material, so that's our green bin, at the cost of $4 million a year to all of us ratepayers. We are all paying for our organic material to go to several different places, and yet the agricultural industry needs that organic material, and now they're paying extra money to get compost that's made out of county and then bring it back. So it's this totally out of whack system. So finally the agency decided to go out to bid for a new compost facility, and I'm actually part of the team. And we end up winning. It's called Renewable Sonoma. So I thought I'd just quickly go over what's going to be happening. It's going to be a long process. It takes a lot of effort to get all the permits and environmental compliance, but we're going to be building a facility that's part compost facility as well as anaerobic digestion, where we're going to be taking the energy off of that's produced from food waste, and then turn that into energy, and we're plugging it into the Laguna Water Treatment Facility to get more of their energy as renewable energy versus relying on energy from PG&E. So we're also going to help be in compliance. There's a lot of state legislation right now that requires businesses, if you work at a business and it generates over 4 cubic yards of waste a week, you actually have to have an organics collection program. So we're going to, one of our big things also is education and outreach to the community, trying to let them know, what is truly compostable, what's not. Charlie gave a great example of those new compostable plastic-looking products, which are very problematic to the system. So because these compostable products can be problematic, through our Zero Waste Task Force, we decided to form a subcommittee to really dive in to figure out what truly is compostable, so that as a community of Sonoma County, we know what are the right products to buy. So if you're going to be putting on an event and you want compostable materials to help with your serving food, it's our job we want to create a list to make it easier for the consumer so they can buy the right thing. I wanted to also share with you, I mentioned the Sonoma County Waste Management Agency. They, just last week also, the board passed a new prohibit of the sale of disposable food serviceware and other products containing polystyrene. So what their goal is to reduce the use of polystyrene and then reduce litter impacts. We do know that polystyrene, styrofoam, when it breaks up, it breaks up into smaller and smaller pieces, and it's one of the big problematic products on our beaches and our rivers, which eventually goes to the ocean.
So will that mean that the restaurants here in town that are still serving glasses in those styrofoam cups that drive me crazy will be illegal?
That will be illegal. Also, the point of sale, so you can no longer buy polystyrene at Smart and Final. You can no longer get it at Costco. So it's going to be all across the board.
Just so you know, at our Brew Fest, we did not going to sell any plastic bottles of water. We went to the containers, which is, I think it's a really nice looking beer, right, or a wine barrel. In addition, both the counties of San Francisco and Contra Costa has also said you cannot buy plastic water bottles anymore. So if you guys go out and get yourself one of these, we should get rid of those plastic water bottles forever because they're really a huge problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on the task force. Actually, we could be our next speaker at our task force because we have speakers too. Another thing it does was at the time the governor had not signed into law the plastic or straws upon request, so that's also part of it too. Let's see here. So just a little bit of history is there actually where? Don't rock in front of it? No. Okay.
Yeah, when it faces the thing.
Right there, don't worry. So, as I was saying, so over 100 cities in California have passed similar legislation to this. So we really see that California is, moving in this direction. We really are a leader in environmental causes, which is very nice. So I wanted to share with you actually Sebastopol, leading by example, and you guys have amazing examples here in your own community. I got to do a presentation on the zero waste request that we were doing at the mayor's and council members' dinner that happens once a quarter. And after I gave the presentation about what our task force was wanting to accomplish, the Sebastopol City Council member said, come to us first. We don't even need to wait. We want to pass the zero waste resolution, so can you just come to us first? And we were like, wow, yeah, absolutely. We need someone to come out of the gates and be a leader on this. And so what Sebastopol City Council did was they decided to host a study session last week. Did anybody hear about the study session last week? No. Okay. So we presented, actually this is the presentation we gave at the study session, but I gotta tell you, we were hoping maybe 20 people would show up. We had over 80 of your community members come to the council room, so much so that they had to stand outside just to hear what we were talking about with zero waste. And the council made a joke and they said they've never seen so many people come out for one thing unless it's being contested. and it was so nice for them to see something so positive, and I think it's because we're feeling the impacts. We're feeling the impacts of plastics in our beaches. It's also something that we all can do and be a part of. And so we felt it was important that the City Council saw that Sebastopol itself had some amazing shining stars right within it that all wanted some type of zero waste initiative. First is Green Mary. Do you guys know who Green Mary is? Yeah, okay, so Green Mary has been in business, gosh, for probably 8 years, I'm gonna guess. And she provides zero waste event services. She even has her own collection of reusable forks, plates, cups. So if a big event wants to go completely reusable, she has the space. And so Green Mary is an amazing asset to your community, and she provides services from events as far away as Sacramento, San Francisco, even south, and that all started right here out of Sebastopol. Another thing is Sebastopol citizens decided to get together and try and green some of their events on their own. They were not organized under one group. They just were regular citizens that said, look, we have big events that we want to help go green. One was the Gravenstein Festival, and the other one is the Peace Town. If you've noticed a difference at both of those are just citizens deciding to do something to make a difference. And you can kind of see some of the numbers of the Gravenstein. Actually, Pam, you worked on this one too.
Yeah, actually, I helped launch that whole thing, and I just was gonna say, in terms of the list of products, we've been working on refining what we send out to our vendors in terms of acceptable products for compostable and recyclable ware, and so I'm happy to share that with you as well. If that
I was
would be-
gonna say, would you make sure you get that sent out to the club?
Yep, that's fine,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah, and Peace Town, I know they're trying to get people to bring your own utensils and cups. It was just the start of it this year, but that's definitely going to grow. I mentioned the new Hall of Ecology. Hopefully you might be seeing a new level of service. They're certainly reaching out to your communities. Andy's Market never had a compost bin. Everything just went into the trash. They now have flipped. They have more room for organic material than they do for even trash service. Same with Hot Monk Tavern, never did organics collection, food waste, and now they do. Screaming Mimi's. Screaming Mimi's platform is actually always based on zero waste, whether the owner knew it or not. And so she spoke, she does not use, she does not use those plastic little tasters for the ice cream. I believe she gives out metal. Yeah, metal spoons. That was just always part of her platform. She thought it was so stupid when you go to other ice cream stores, they give you that little plastic thing, you use it once, and then you throw it away. And so she even got rid of cups. She uses cones, and the cups that she does use are completely compostable. So she is a great example of a zero waste store, as well as Handline. The owners of Handline own another restaurant in Sebastopol. Lowe's. Handline, that is the basic principle, is being zero waste and local. And so they also did highlighted their new restaurant and how they incorporated zero waste principles into their business operations. Both these businesses will tell you they've saved money because of this. This is a cost savings for their operations. And then the Cedar Slow, Sebastopol. So this is another organization, and what they do is they pick one thing each month to help make a difference in Sebastopol. And about 3 months, they decided zero waste was going to be their thing. And they created these little pieces of paper that says zero waste on it, and they work with businesses, and if you... What's that?
The signs are made out of plastic, just kidding.
Yeah. So it's a folder that's reusable. But they decided that they would customize what that business was doing in bullet points under their sign. It was so successful for them that it's the first campaign that they are not getting rid of, and they're continuing on. So if you go to businesses in Sebastopol and you see that little sign, that's where that came from.
Vegan.
It's also happening with the students here in Sebastopol. They're getting introduced to recycling and composting at a young age, and this is from a teacher who wanted to help educate students on composting right. Her name is Sunny Galbraith. And she's done an amazing job just as a teacher to work with students at Orchard View Middle School as well as Apple Blossom to compost and do worm composting right at school. And it's actually spread to Annalee High School. And what the high school students do is they educate the middle schoolers on this, and the middle school kids educate the kindergartners on this. Perfect. So there's multiple levels of education. It's just not, adults saying you should do this. It's actually the kids being accountable. And we had the high school students actually present their program to the council, which was very impactful. They also do things like this where, if you can kind of see that picture on the right, but what it is it shows what truly is trash in a typical lunch bag, what's recyclable and what's compostable, so that the kids have a visual, especially the younger kids, to know what goes where. And you can see it ends up being really clean. This is the compost bin at one of the schools. So there is just a lot going on.
And here in Sebastopol, it's pretty exciting to see. It's actually spreading all throughout Sonoma County. We left the Sebastopol City Council session with 3 asks. We asked them, 1, to support the zero waste, our zero waste resolution when it comes to them. It should be coming to them very soon, I'd say within the next month, hopefully. We asked them to support the model ordinance on the polystyrene, the styrofoam ban. And we all asked them to update their permitting process for all events happening. If an event needs to pull a permit on Sebastopol space, we asked them to make sure that they have a recycling program. Yes, thank you. And then we also asked them to make recycling and composting mandatory at all businesses. So that would be super helpful. We asked the city itself to ban the purchasing of single-use water bottles. So back to your thing. We asked the city council, lead by example. Just don't buy water bottles. If you're going to have a council meeting, if you're going to host something, just use reusable like the Rotary is doing here today. And then we also asked them to, the city council, to stop buying single-use plastics, cups, forks at their own events as well and use reusables. So with that, that's all I have. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. And I'll start here.
We got a problem with...
We have a mic for Jerry.
Jerry is the mic.
Where's the mic guy, Jerry? What about the problem with too many recyclables, glass and plastic and all that don't have any value, as much value as they used to?
Yeah, so Jerry's talking about what we call the national sword. China was so sick of us exporting our dirty recyclables to them that they decided to do something about it. This is actually the second time they decided to do about it. They did the same thing to us about 7 years ago, but then they pulled back. And now China said, look, US, you are exporting your bales of plastic, but there is food waste in it. You're exporting your bales of paper and 20% of it, and we get it, it's actually trash. We don't want to deal with your trash
So they
anymore.
dump it in the ocean, right?
No, they said, if you want to send it to us, you can only have 0.5% contamination. Our infrastructure has been designed for recycling that we put everything into one bin. And there's a cross-contamination that happens of our resources. And so it's a real problem that the way we used to do it, where everything went to its own bin, you actually kept recyclables really clean and you had better markets. So our new infrastructure that's widely used, you devalued the grade of that material. So it's a wake-up call to the industry. So China does not accept it. They stopped accepting our barges. Our materials are being rerouted to Vietnam, India, other places. But at the same time, our industry is changing and modifying its infrastructure. The recyclables go to what we call a material recovery facility, where the materials are separated either manually by labor or by engineered equipment. Those lines are going slower. They're putting the materials maybe 3 times through the line so that they can get cleaner materials. This is actually a good thing, I think, for the market. It needed to be disrupted because what we were doing was not right. We were kicking the can down to China and other countries when we weren't being responsible. So it's going to take some time to adjust. I think the markets will work themselves out over time, but we're going to go through a hard time for a little bit.
One more question, Leslie. Do you think you would be able to stay after the meeting to answer a few questions?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I just have a question. You were talking about containers having food on. So what's the balance between that and using lots of water to clean them?
Great question. So if it's like peanut butter, mayonnaise, those are issues, we just recommend using a spatula.
And I'll say,
185.
You wash your dishes in the sink. If you have dirty recycling, you can just swish it around with a dirty dishwasher and use the water when you're done too. So that way you're not using extra water.
Let's all thank Leslie for very, very, very important stuff. Thank you very much for coming. Leslie will be here to answer some questions after the meeting. This is for you, our little gift for speakers. And would you do one thing for us?
Recyclable paper?
Possibly. No representations there. If you would pick and read a raffle ticket. We may have a winner. It's possible we have a winner.
So, the raffle ticket number. Drum roll, please.
Okay, drum roll, drum roll.
All right, 333177.
All right, yeah, you pick a card, any card.
And what is it that one?
And Linda was the big winner last week, so I had to go out and buy a new deck of cards. A new deck.
So for
That's-
days, then.
Well, so if you pick the right card, you're a lucky person.
Okay, what's the right card?
Oh,
Almost eight.
well, you are in luck. Judy provided a beautiful selection of cheeses. Thank you, Judy, very much. Consolation prize, thanks so much. And who is the lucky person who has the joke today? Joke. Paula.
Paul's going to be first in line. It's on, just speak up.
Hello. No.
Turn the volume up, please.
So a grasshopper went into a bar, and the bartender said, "Oh, we have a drink named after you." And he looked kind of surprised, and he goes, "Oh, you mean to drink Steve?"
Excellent.